You're watching this video because you're considering moving to Oakland in 2020. On this channel, I talk about the pros and cons of living in certain cities. I compare the cost of living and things you should know before purchasing or selling a home in the Bay Area. All right, so let's make this fast and furious. In one of my other videos, I talked about 7 things you should know about Oakland. Some of the things I'm going to mention in this video go into more detail about that, or they're specific to this strange time we're all in during COVID-19. So number 1, there is a housing shortage. There's a housing shortage in all of California. Oakland especially has a housing shortage because a lot of folks during shelter in place are moving to the East Bay because of the price point. They want more yard space than they get in the city in an apartment. Regardless, there's a lot of demand for housing in Oakland, but we do not have the inventory for 2 reasons. 1, sellers don't want to move. They don't want their tax basis to go up when they sell their home. If they purchased in 2012, 2013 at the bottom of the real estate market, then their home values have gone up dramatically. Prop 13 prevents homeowners' tax bills from dramatically increasing because their values increased. A lot of folks have been in their homes for decades who don't want to lose that tax basis. So sellers don't have anywhere to go. Where would they move if they want to remain in the Bay Area? Oakland and California in general is not very development friendly. What this means is that the city creates moratoriums that limit the use of a building that's been vacant for many years, so it doesn't make any financial sense to developers because they can't change the building's use. And the city has development impact fees, which can be as high as 26 grand per unit created. So there are fewer financial incentives for developers. A lot of the new development going on in Oakland is build to lease, not build to sell. These development impact fees supposedly go to our houselessness issue. Unfortunately, there's been recent media coverage on how the city of Oakland has not utilized those funds in a way that's created more affordable housing. I've seen only a few single-family homes built in the past 5 years through Hello Housing. Even then, it's a single-family home. The city isn't maximizing the use of those lots dedicated to that build. So I mentioned our houselessness issue. We have a higher houselessness issue per capita than San Francisco and Berkeley. Houselessness in Oakland has increased 47% over the past 2 years. Number 2, and this has been the case for the past few years, is anyone who's lived here for a long time doesn't want you to move here. They want you to think that it's not a great place to live. That's because the housing inventory is very low. Rents have been much higher than they have been in the past. And to be frank, people who are from Oakland, they do not want Oakland to have the homogenous tech culture of San Francisco. That's not to say that when you move here, people will be rude to you because you aren't from here. But it does mean we expect you to talk to your neighbors and get to know your neighbors and get involved in helping fix some of the issues that the city of Oakland has long struggled with. Support our smaller businesses, especially during shelter in place, that are considered Oakland staples. Recently, the Tribune Tavern closed and Oakland Uptown Nightclub is closing. Number 3, in 2020, there are some positive changes to our infrastructure. During shelter in place, many of the roads are getting repaved. I'm seeing new crosswalks painted in Temescal. I'm seeing new crosswalks painted in some parts of downtown Oakland. The bike lanes are being redone in certain parts of Oakland that are more dangerous for bikers. And our chronic pothole issue hopefully is being resolved by these new roads. I'm seeing less of that in East Oakland, so if you do move to East Oakland neighborhoods, make sure to advocate for these improvements. Number 4, and I mentioned this in my last video, there are a few new ordinances you need to consider when purchasing a home. Sewer lateral, which is the lines that connect to the main sewage line, have to be in good condition. In 2020, or really in 2019, they passed this sidewalk ordinance. That sidewalk ordinance requires that you take care of repaving the sidewalk, and that can cost you thousands of dollars if there are issues. Some of these expenses, according to the state, are homeowners' responsibility, but only 2 cities enforce it, and one is Oakland. Number 5, during the Black Lives Matter movement, there were several mentions of Oakland in the national media, claiming that there was unrest and violence and a lot of property destruction. That has not been the case in 2020. Black Lives Matter movement demonstrations have been peaceful. And the national media likes to feed this narrative that Oakland is an extremely dangerous city. Number 6, in light of the Black Lives Matter movement, we are working towards changing our city's budget. Citizens would like to redistribute the $330 million police budget to other services that are given much less money. Having been a teacher in Oakland, I can think of a few ways they could use that budget for education. If you look at Transparent California, the chief of police in Oakland received almost $300,000 in overtime So if you move here, demand more accountability about where your tax dollars are spent. Our sales tax is 9.25%. If you're making the median income, your income tax is 9.3% with the state. There are marijuana taxes, 10% for recreational use, 5% for medical use. We also have city transfer taxes every time a property is purchased, which is integrated into your closing costs and often split between the buyer and seller, but it's expensive. It's $15 for every $1,000. This is higher than many East Bay cities. Some cities don't have transfer taxes when you buy or sell a property. So where's that money going? Look at the budget info. There are several sites, which I'll display here, showing you where our discretionary and non-discretionary dollars go. All right, number 7, speaking of costs, again, if you own a car, the parking meter folks will still ticket you in 2020. Even during shelter in place, there is some relief with street parking during street sweeping times because everyone's working from home, but those tickets are expensive. They're like $75 now. So pay attention to the curbs. Even if they're painted the wrong color, they'll still ticket you. Be mindful of street sweeping. Number 8, we are a drug-friendly city. Mushrooms and marijuana are illegal. If you're coming from a different part of the United States, that might seem like a shock. We are one of 2 cities in the United States that have legalized possession of psychedelic mushrooms. There are many dispensaries in Oakland. There are many delivery services for marijuana and CBD products, but that's not unusual for the Bay Area. There are some cities that do their best to keep dispensaries and delivery services out of their cities. All right, number 9, Lake Merritt is the largest public party. The lake became the epicenter of social activity, and it often is anyway on the weekends. There are also tons of merchants and entrepreneurs who are making use of all the activity over there. Several restaurants around Lake Merritt that have to-go and outdoor seating. So if you decide to rent or live around there, it can be noisy. Don't complain about the drums. I'm warning you now. All right, number 10, we love our sports teams, but they don't love us back equally. So the Raiders just left us in 2020 for Las Vegas. The Oakland A's are remaining. The Golden State Warriors, who were always playing in the Coliseum in East Oakland, are now moving to the Chase Center in San Francisco. I can tell you many reasons why I think this is a bad decision, but Raiders fans are still diehard fans, and the Golden State Warriors fans, people paint their homes Warriors colors. We're pretty passionate about our sports teams. But bless the A's for staying with us and staying in East Oakland. Honorable mentions, we just had 3 Emmy winners that are either Oakland born and raised or the content of the shows are Oakland based. So we have a lot of talented, artistic, beautiful people here. And the last thing I want to mention is because of the fires recently in 2020, the air quality has not been great. There are worse things to happen when there are wildfires, like losing your home. But in Oakland, the air quality was really, really poor, like a lot of West Coast cities. Normally, Oakland's air quality is better than many cities in the East Bay. Thanks for watching this video on the 10 things you should know before moving to Oakland in 2020. If you want more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below. And again, if you are considering moving here, I'm happy to chat with you about Oakland, any city in the East Bay, and pretty much all of San Francisco Bay Area.